Don't prescribe elevated leg rests unless you understand these concepts. The first thing you need to understand is how the hamstring works. The hamstring is attached from the pelvis, runs along the femur, goes through your knee and attaches to your tibia and fibula. It's like an elastic band, and if your elastic band is really tight and you try to extend that leg, what it's going to do is going to pull the pelvis forward. Picture it yourself. Imagine you're seated on the floor with your back up against the wall and your legs extended out. How long would you be able to sit in this position before you had to slouch forward? The reason why you want to slouch forward is because you've got tension in your hamstrings and you're trying to offload that by slouching yourself. Now, instead of slouching yourself, what you can do is go into recline. This tilts the pelvis without letting you go into a slouch position. So if you want to elevate someone's leg rest in a wheelchair, the first thing you always want to do is tilt, but then you want to recline first to allow you to open up the legs. If you try to open up the legs like this, it's going to cause them to slouch. So either do it together where the legs come up and the backrest goes back at the same time, or tilt, recline, then elevate the legs. And the second thing you need to know about elevating legs and the hamstrings is that when your legs go out, the muscle gets longer, right? Muscles go long, muscles contract, long, short. So what most elevated leg rests would do is they'll articulate, because as the leg goes up, it gets longer, so the leg rest would need to become longer. But not all levels of articulation are the same with every single wheelchair. And what happens if you don't have enough articulation is that your knees will start to rise up, which can cause your legs to wind sweep or internally or externally rotate, and it also puts more pressure on your ITs. So if you're trialing it or prescribing it, make sure you actually trial it all the way up, or as much as the client is actually going to use, to make sure the level of articulation is correct. Now I'll put my hand up here. I remember in my early days when I scripted a wheelchair, I had a client who wanted elevated leg rests. My trial chair didn't have elevated leg rests. I was like, yeah, we can put elevated leg rests on there, no problem. And then we go to do the delivery a few months later, and then we actually used the elevated leg rest, and it didn't have enough articulation, so her knees started to go up and it caused her a lot of pain, and she couldn't even use the elevated leg rest. That still haunts me to this day. But learn from my mistakes. If you're going to prescribe elevated leg rest, make sure you actually trial the elevated leg rest and make sure it's got enough articulation. You're welcome.